Well, you did a great job with that. And what about your teachers? How has being a part of the Living Wisdom School, how has that helped you in terms of your writing?
Well, during school when we were writing, they didn't have much limit. They didn't do corrections very much.
Okay.
It was really inspiring.
So they allowed you to be creative, and instead of saying, "Oh, Isabell, you're a terrible speller," or "You didn't do the formatting really correct," they just allowed your creativity to just flow.
Yeah.
See, now I love that. So now let me turn to Michael, the founder. What is the foundation of this school? What was your inspiration for creating the school, and what are the principles that it's founded upon?
Well, I was very unimpressed with my own education growing up. That was the start. Had no interest at all in being a teacher. But then I read the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And he described a different kind of school that he had actually started in India back in 1917.
Right.
So that made me start to think, we could do it really differently. And so starting the school at Ananda Village back in 1972, I think the first thing was that respecting students, that they are real people. They're not just deficient adults waiting to grow up. They're actually really neat people that if you start to get to know them and start to work with them, you start to they have skills, they have talents, they have insights that the teacher's job is to bring out and to keep that flow going from the core of the person, rather than a lot of times in education that core gets shut off really fast.
Yes.
And so then people are kind of lost until they find it again. So the whole idea with the schools is to keep it alive and nurture it in a lot of different ways.
Well, and I noticed that one of the things, and Brian, I'm going to bring you in, is the intellect is not the only thing that's nurtured at the school. There are the 4 stages of learning that are incorporated into the school. So could you just very briefly tell us about those 4 stages?
Sure. Well, the intellect is, as you mentioned, it's important, but it's only one of the things we focus on. We find also that the stages usually correspond to stages of life as well. So
yes.
The first is the body years, which is usually
they got to play.
Got to play. You have to feel things
energy.
And touch dirt and
climb trees,
climb trees, fall out of trees.
Yeah.
So this is how we learn. And so then from 6 to 12 would be the feeling years, working with the emotions, working with the heart. So much of what happens to us in the world is we're taught that we have to not feel, and we have to kind of close down and put up barriers and put up walls. And so really giving them the space to explore that feeling, to see it as an asset rather than a detriment, and to be able to channel it to something positive.
And their relationships, right?
Of course. I mean, friendships is the most important kind of relationship in our lives. We know, even in a romantic sense, the friendship is really the key to it. And so learning to relate to another's reality more than your own, even equal to your own, is important to become a well-rounded human being and a happy person.
Well, and what I saw at the school was how actually they weren't even in school. There was just like a little festival going on, and I saw how the kids interacted with each other and how considerate and compassionate and playful. They're very playful, but, I didn't see all this competitiveness going on.
Yeah, I mean, the world is already a competitive enough place, but if you teach children that if they put out energy and do their best, that everything is always going to work out for the best. Creating an environment like that. I was just listening to a TED Talk about the science of play and how it's important, especially for adults actually, to continue to play and have some sort of outlet for their creativity and to have fun, because otherwise, it's a psychologically beneficial concept to continue finding something that you're passionate about, something that you enjoy. And when you're allowed to pursue that and encouraged to pursue that, all of your pursuits become that much better.
Oh, wow. That's beautifully spoken. I'd like to bring my co-host, Kim Michaels, in on the discussion. He's joining us via Skype. Kim, in terms of us mastering the 7 rays, one of them, is the ray of will and power and then creativity. I'd like to get your thoughts on the type of educational system that they've set up at Ananda Village and its impact for, let's say, the rest of the world as we're moving into the golden age?
Well, without being an expert on what they've created, I think it's wonderful to see that there are people who are experimenting with this, because I do feel, just like one of your guests was saying there, that my education wasn't satisfactory in any way, and we need to experiment with new things, and especially about bringing up the whole person and developing more qualities than just the intellect and the competitiveness. I think that's wonderful. I also want to say that my first spiritual book was Autobiography of a Yogi, and I really loved it, and it opened up a whole new world for me, and I love Yogananda very much as a spiritual teacher.
And I would like to say the same thing. That actually, my first one was The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East with Baird Spalding, and then I stumbled upon Autobiography of a Yogi. But it just fundamentally changes people's lives, and it opens up a whole new world of spirituality that you didn't even know was available to you. It's like I knew inside of me that there was more, but the book said yes. You know, it's all very, very possible.
Makes it real.
So, Isabell, for you now this is the only school that you've ever been to, but how does it feel for you being so free to explore your imagination? Because in some schools, I know like some kids were telling me, our church won't let us read Harry Potter, and it's like the world of imagination in there. So how would you feel if you were in a school that said, reading Harry Potter is bad?
I don't know if I could do it.
Well, let me tell you, I couldn't do it. I taught at a college, and everything that had to do with spirituality, that had to do with raising up, the imagination and the potential of college students was suppressed. And after a while, I went, I can't do this. So that was an excellent answer, Isabell. You are very blessed. Do you realize how blessed you are to be at a school like that?
Yes.
And your mom teaches art there. And I wanted to point out that Isabell also did the book cover as well as the story. So how well-rounded is that? So Isabell, what do you think you want to do with your life? You're 12 years old now. You're a real adolescent. Where do you think you're going to be going? I know you're going to continue to write.
Well, I want to be an artist.
Oh, well, you are.
Yeah.
Bona fide. Okay.
When I grow up, I want to be an author and an artist and an illustrator.
And you are already. Look at that. So have you released, I'm sure that people are going to want to know where to get the book. It actually sold out at the festival. I think I got one of the last ones. And after reading it, I know why it sold out. Have you released it as an ebook yet?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet.
All right. Well, Brian, you're going to have to get her up with the times.
I know.
Get her on Amazon.com so people can download this book. It's so much easier.
Absolutely. I read most of my books through the Kindle.
Right? Now, Brian, you teach theater there, correct?
I do.
And you guys have a huge, very impressive theater and auditorium there. So, Michael, was that your inspiration?
The theater?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It was a blessing, but came to us.
Okay, so you've just probably watched your baby grow, and you've just been a proud father, right?
Well, I don't know if you heard how it began. We began in a chicken coop.
No, I didn't hear that.
It's changed radically in the 45 years it's been going.
Oh, I would say so. 45 years. Oh, but I want to point out to the audience that this blueprint that you guys have created, and it's been going on for 45, almost 50 years now, which you've definitely perfected, it's also available to other educators who want to duplicate this blueprint, and it's done under the umbrella of Education for Life.
Yeah, we have... we're just putting this together. It'll start in September, but it'll be an online course that people can sign up for. and they can take a series of classes, and then they can have a mentor online with them to work with them one-to-one, developing these skills.
Okay. So after we come back from commercial break, I'd like to talk more about how parents in the LA area or in the listening area who are interested in this can check this out. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN, and I'm interviewing these amazing people from Ananda Village. You can check them out at findinghappinessmovie.com.
For over 20 years, you've trusted Lumber Liquidators to make high-quality, beautiful flooring affordable for everyone. Delivering this value means you get the floor you want at the low price you deserve. So we've lowered prices even more. This week at beautifully distressed click strand bamboo. It's easy to install, and now it's $229. That's about half what you'll pay at other stores. Plus 200 styles of pre-finished hardwood from $169 and 12-month special financing. You trust our value. We value your trust. For quality hardwood, see the flooring experts today. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
Welcome to Staples. How can I help you?
Hey, Staples guy. I need to promote my new business and do it on budget.
I can make that happen.
Can you print business cards?
Staples can print business cards, brochures, banners.
Pens?
Pens, magnets, luggage tags.
Calendars.
Calendars, sticky notes, lawn signs, and window decals.
What about foam fingers?
What color? Red, yellow, blue.
You had me at yellow.
Make on budget happen, make getting noticed happen. Staples, make more happen. Now at Staples, get 40% off large banners, posters, and lawn signs.
Offer valid on all large banners, posters, and lawn signs in store and online and 6/27/15. Discount applied before taxes. May not be combined with any other offer. See store staples.com/signs for details.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. Is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you? It's springtime in the Southland, and the yucca filamatusa are in bloom, and so is the hunger and thirst for good times. Palate-pleasing, mouth-watering steaks, yes! Neptune's gifts of the freshest fish direct from the seven seas, oh yes! Columbo's delectable Italian family specialties that shame the competition, yes! Jazz every night, check! All at such reasonable prices, yes, yes, yes! And might I add one more yes? Thank you. Let us not forget their award-winning meatballs, oh yes! Columbo's. It's more than the stuff of urban legend. It is that good. Columbo's, because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's. Yes. Manja.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kvhmaui.com. That's kvhmaui.com. Aloha.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Okay, we're back with more of Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and joining me via Skype is my co-host, Kim Michaels, and we're talking about how you can help your children find happiness, how you can teach happiness to children. And I think that that is so important because you see so many children that just have no life in their eyes, no spark in their eyes, and all they're looking forward to is eating, you know, the next craze in junk food or the next video game, and they are not in touch with their creativity. So, Kim, can I bring you in very quickly to talk about the importance of creativity? Is that the first ray? creativity?
Well, it really is all of the rays.
Okay.
But the first ray is will and power, and the will to express something creative.
Yeah. And how important do you feel that is for a spiritual being?
Well, I feel it's extremely important. And as you said, the lack of life in children's eyes is very much because they are not taught to express their creativity. It's discouraged from a very early age. So I'm really excited about seeing something like what they're doing in Ananda Village and other places where they're experimenting with more creative forms of education. I think it's wonderful. And it's really needed in the age we're going into, because I do think that the intellect has outlived its time and that we will not be able to solve the problems of civilization unless we develop that creativity.
Well, thank you for that. And I was just talking to Isabell on commercial break, and I said, well, what about television, Isabell? So tell them, what about television?
I don't watch television at home.
How about that? And what an imagination this child has, just not watching television. And so I imagine that you spend, tell us what a day is like for Isabell.
Well, I go to school, and during lunch and snack, I write my stories.
How about that? And what about after school? What do you do?
Well, when I go home, sometimes I work on my stories, sometimes I draw, sometimes I do other things.
Like what? What other things do you like besides writing and drawing?
Well, I can unicycle.
Ooh. Oh, and I heard you play basketball.
Yes, I do.
How about that? And what else do you enjoy?
Well, I'm putting on a carnival
pretty
soon.
Oh, my goodness. You're putting it on?
Yes.
How about that?
With my best friend.
Okay. A whole carnival. I love it. So there's just no limit to your imagination. And I think when children are stuck in front of a television screen, they're not allowing the wheels of their imagination to turn. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I mean, my parents tried valiantly to keep me away from television, and eventually,
valiantly.
Yeah, they tried their best. I grew up in the city also, where it's a little bit harder to avoid.
Which city was that?
Palo Alto, near San Francisco.
I love Palo Alto. It's not a big city.
It's not a big city, but
nice.
Compared to where I live now, I live in the trees now, so
I love the trees.
It's a beautiful spot.
Oh my God! And Ananda Village, just having the deer come out and play with you in all the little dirt roads, and I was thinking when I was there, how amazing is this that you can just let your kids run around and roll in the dirt and climb in the trees, and in the city, you know, you're like, oh my God, are you in the backyard? Where are you? You're just in a panic. You can't let the kids even play, you know, go to the next door neighbors. It is such a different world where you guys are. So I do hope you again know how lucky you are, Isabell, growing up there.
Yes.
And would you trade it for the city life? I know you get to visit the city.
No, definitely not.
For nothing. I love that. So you were going to, Michael, you were going to talk about the fact that there are how many living wisdom schools?
So there's 6 living wisdom schools right now. There's the main one that we've been talking about up near Nevada City.
Okay.
There's one in Seattle, one in Portland, and then the one that Brian went to in Palo Alto. Those are all along the West Coast.
Now, around the world, there are other Ananda communities.
Yeah, so there's the 2 other schools are in Europe. One's in Italy, in Assisi, Italy. The other one's in Ljubljana, Slovenia.
Oh, wow.
I had to work on pronouncing that one. But so it's growing. So people are starting to realize that you can approach children in this way. You can develop all 4 tools. The Brian started with the ones, but the body, and then the feeling, but then the will comes in, and the will comes in, especially right out where Isa is right now, with the teenage years, and she's doing a great job of channeling that will.
Okay, and we're going to talk more about channeling the will after commercial break. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, with my co-host, Kim Michaels, and these delightful people from Ananda Village Living Wisdom Schools.
Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or receive legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. You can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but you must act right now. If you've been served by your bank and you're worried about losing your home to foreclosure, now is the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now.
800-515-6309. 800-515-6309. 800-515-6309. 800-515-6309. That number again is 800-515-6309.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-351-8614. That's 800-351-8614. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-351-8614.
They say life is about choices. So let me introduce you to one of the best choices you can make in life. Grainger Choice. The Grainger Choice product line has just about everything we need to keep this place running. From batteries to V-belts, safety to sump pumps, and with Grainger Choice, we can trust that every product is dependable and cost-effective. When it comes to making life choices, here's a great one. Grainger Choice. Get it? Got it? Good. Call, click Grainger.com/choice, or stop by. Grainger. For the ones who get it done.
I want to start out with some of my songs that go back to my very first recording.
The showroom at South Point presents Crystal Gale, April 24th through the 26th. Tickets available now. In person at the South Point box office, online at southpointcasino.com, or charge by phone 702-797-8055. Don't miss Crystal Gale at the South Point.
All right, we're back with more Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and my co-host, Kim Michaels, is joining me via Skype. Kim, we cut off the last discussion about will, and I'd like for you to open it up about the way of will and how important that is, and then we'll segue into their educational component of channeling the will.
Yeah, well, it's the first ray, so it is what you start out with. You have to have a will to create, and you have to also have a certain amount of power to even overcome the opposition or the resistance from the world, because there is kind of, whatever you want to call it, a force in the world that wants to maintain status quo. It doesn't want something new and creative. And I think you have to have that willpower and the drive to overcome that in order to get anything new started.
Yeah, and in education, you need educators like Brian and Michael, and Elizabeth's mother. What's your name?
Isabell.
I'm sorry, Isabel's mother. Okay, who is also an art teacher at the school, who allow the development of will. So, Michael, I'd like for you to continue the discussion on how you guys help to develop the will of the children.
It's crucial because it's one of the biggest pitfalls in our society. You watch people getting into teenage years with no positive direction for their will.
Exactly.
But that will is going to come out, and so it comes out in very crazy ways. But I wanted to turn it over to Brian to talk about one of the main things we do to develop the will is to expand the horizons of people when they get to be about 13 years old. And he's going to tell you about that.
Okay.
So basically part of our curriculum is a service adventure trip that we do every year. And we do a couple trips, but this one is concentrated on going to another place and serving in some way, giving to a community. And so this year, the boys went to Costa Rica and the girls went to Panama. And we both did our own service component there. And basically, we were there to save the leatherback turtles. And so we were out there in the night walking on the beach and collecting eggs and sort of, fighting the poachers.
So they're an endangered species because of the poachers?
Mostly because of the poachers. I mean, it's made worse because of the poachers.
Okay.
For a long time, they were just hunted because it wasn't illegal. And so, the population has dwindled to, I think, around 30,000 globally, which compared to when they first came to the harbor, they wrote stories of the turtles bumping off the side of the boat because there were so many.
Okay.
And so now there's not as many. And more than even helping the turtles, it was about helping the local community. Our presence helped employ a number of guides that were local so that they wouldn't have to poach in order to put food on the table. They were able to sort of help us. But the main part of it is not only helping others, it's helping ourselves and seeing the world as a bigger place and seeing it as a place to help other people and to feel what that feels like and to channel, like Michael was saying, to channel the will in a way towards a specific goal and project. I mean, we were doing very challenging things. We were walking on the beach from like midnight to 4 in the morning without any lights. We were running into stumps. We were getting hit by waves. I mean, it was a crazy experience.
And potentially dangerous.
Dangerous. But when you give children at that age need a challenge. They need to really be engaged in a strong way. And when you give them a challenge, at first, it feels a little overwhelming, but when they push through that, they see what they're really capable of. And then they're not needing to, lash out in ways. This group of kids is really, they have extremely strong wills, but they're developed consciously. And so they're not just lashing out.
And joining gangs and taking drugs and beating people up.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're truly young adults. And when you treat someone like what they will become, then they become that automatically. And like Michael was saying, when you treat the children with respect, they deserve the respect. It's like you have to start by treating them that way, and then they'll respond.
I agree. As a teacher, the students will live up to whatever ideal you set for them, versus a lot of the teachers that I was around, they would set the students up for failure versus setting them up for success because they do want to succeed. Now, Isabell, I understand that now that you're entering 7th grade, you will be able to take one of these adventures. So where are you looking forward to going?
We don't really know where we're going to go yet, but I really want to go somewhere tropical.
Oh, well, I feel you. I'm a tropical girl. I love the sun.
One of the things that she'll face next year, though, she has to earn part of the money for that trip herself.
Oh,
so maybe she can earn it by selling books.
Well, yeah, she's quite the little entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Since her book sold out. So, Isabell, you have actually completed the sequel to Finding Arturo, right?
Yes, I have. It's just I'm working on editing it, and I hope to get it published soon.
All right. So how many pages is the sequel? Because this one is like 158 pages, so the sequel is what?
304.
Wow. About. Okay. So what do you guys, is someone publishing the book for you? Or are you guys doing it yourself?
There's this online company called Blurb.
Okay.
And we edit it and work on it and then send it, and it will publish it for us and send it in the mail.
All right. Wonderful. So what did the girls do for their adventure? You said they went to Panama.
They did. They stayed in a sort of a eco-territory. There's a group there that has basically bought large parcels of land, and actually now they have almost a county-sized amount of land, and basically they work on preserving it, making sure there's a place for all the local animals. A lot of the tropical animals are, if not endangered, they are threatened, and basically they're preserving large tracts of jungle so that they're able to live there. And so the girls went there and they did all sorts of projects. They dug a lot of ditches and holes and things like that. The less glamorous of the service opportunities, but they really got to dive in and see also just how other cultures live. They were able to meet with native peoples. There are tribes of the original peoples still active in the territory. They were able to meet and interact with. They went to a school and helped them and made improvements in their facilities, and basically just to interact, especially with other kids your own age, but in another part of the world, and you see the differences, but you also see that we're all really the same.
Yeah.
And so I think that the ability to travel as part of our curriculum really helps open up the consciousness.
So important to education.
Yeah.
Yeah, the traveling component I think is critical, and I love the fact that it's mandatory that they earn a part of the trip for themselves, because then there's not that sense of entitlement.
No, but it also is an incredible way to develop the will. They see that they can actually help manifest this trip. They were key parts of it.
Absolutely. And Kim, I'd like to bring you in. I know that Mother Mary holds the Immaculate Concept, for us. And we want to be more like that. And it sounds like that's what these teachers are doing for these kids. They're holding the Immaculate Concept for their greater yet to become. So could you comment on that?
Yeah, I think it sounds like a really, really good program. I think it is very important, like you were saying, I can't remember who of you said it, that what you expect them to become is what they grow into. And that is holding the Immaculate Concept or the vision that they can do much more than they think they can do. And as opposed to so much in public school, where they're almost, their creativity is hammered down.
Yes.
And they're not allowed to be expressed at all. And it just goes up to all of these games and struggles against teachers and other students. It just becomes a struggle instead of this creative flow.
Yes, and harmony. I think that was what I saw among the teachers and the students, was this harmony and a mutual respect and camaraderie. And that was, that was the way I was educated, and that was the way that I was raised. And one thing that I want to point out about your schools that was very similar to the school, the tiny little university school that I attended, was that we consistently scored, like I scored in the 99th percentile every year, and my best friends scored in the 97th and the 98th. And this was just normal to us. And even the one girl that was considered like retarded, she scored in the 70th percentile. I mean, she had like developmental, learning disabilities. So even those...
It's not unusual that way. That what you were experiencing is the same thing. You were being fully nurtured on all parts of your being.
Exactly.
And so I love the comment that the intellect has outlived its usefulness, but I would the way we would look at it in our school is that the intellect, it's been so distorted.
Yes.
That it actually, when it's embedded in these other tools, the will, the feelings, and the body, it's like having organic vegetables. You just get more.
Oh, yeah.
And so
taste.
When we test the kids at the high school level, we don't usually test them until that time. But same thing, they were up in the 90th percentile and up.
Yes.
And that was very consistent over a decade. So when we were testing.
And I know that, actually what's amazing is that the Living Wisdom schools are accredited. And one thing I wanted to point out is that when the accreditation team came there, they called the Living Wisdom School the best kept secret in Northern California. And one of the accreditors said that if we could get what you're doing into the public schools, it would change the world. And it definitely would. could. I know that the kind of education that I had from first through 8th grade is still with me, and that's what made me want to become a teacher. And we were taught that education was designed to help you overcome oppression in the world, and we were taught to be of service, and we had to do the same thing. We had to earn the money for our field trips.
They're common sense things. They're
right?
They're not special. You just realize that this works.
Yeah, nothing was given to us. I picked berries, blackberries, on the side of the road, and I sold berries on the side of the road so that I could make my trip, because it was 7th grade, right? And I had to go. There was no way I was not going to go. And that trip still stands out in my memory, because I was from a very small town. Where I was, there were maybe 300 people. And how many people are in Ananda Village?
About 200.
Yeah, so I can relate to being, in a small town, growing up with, tree houses and books as my best friend. And I think that any kid who has that opportunity, even if they can just do it in the summer, and you guys are offering programs there where people can come and do yoga for several months and meditate, and you have retreats, right?
Yeah, they have a variety of retreats. Brian, are you part of the summer camp program?
Yeah, actually, we'll be having a summer camp for really all ages. There's 2 separate camps, but if you go to livingwisdom.org,
okay,
you can find we're having a 2-week camp in early July.
Okay,
that is, it's boarding is available, and if anyone wants to come, it'll be infused with these principles. It'll be more of a summer camp feel. There'll be a lot of art and music and playing and swimming and things like that. But the vibration of this system of these principles, all the faculty that are taking part in it will be also doing the camp, is also infused. So you can kind of get a good feel for what the school is, and I think it could, even in 2 weeks, could have a transformative effect. I
would have to agree, definitely. So I would encourage people to check that out. What's the website again?
livingwisdom.org.
Okay.
It's the website of our school, and there should be a banner there.
Okay, so definitely check that out as an option for your kids this summer, because a lot of parents in LA are homeschooling their children, and they're looking for these opportunities and these adventures for them that will expand their horizons. And I definitely think that spending a couple of weeks at Ananda Village, even for me, those 4 days just like really lifted me up and made me feel like, oh my goodness, so there is a utopia that already exists. The blueprint has been refined, and all we need to do is just duplicate it and have more of these villages around the world, because I do believe that it takes an entire village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And you need some educated and spiritually grounded, that's the word, adults.
You can create these villages within an urban environment. We've all had experiments with that. That's what actually Brian grew up in that too.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Well, I grew up when you were saying that, kids aren't able to go down the street or go outside so much in the cities. It's definitely true. We had the advantage of basically an urban community, which was essentially an apartment complex, 5 acres. But within that space, I had the freedom because everybody
it was a safe
there,
space.
It was a safe space. Everyone was there, knew each other. It was an intentional community. They had all come here for a common purpose. And so
there was grass and trees.
It was beautifully landscaped and gardens. I mean, it's very, beauty is an uplifting thing, natural beauty. And so being surrounded by it has a positive effect on consciousness and on just general happiness. And so that's a principle that we always apply to everywhere that we are, whether it's Ananda or Living Wisdom School or anything like that.
I did notice that, how beautiful and clean and pristine everything is at Ananda. And I thought to myself, yeah, this is really how everyone should be able to live, and how egalitarian it all is. It's like nobody is living in some gigantic mansion and then other people are in little hovels and huts. There's this egalitarian spirit that's there.
It sort of happens naturally, but when everyone gets together, you end up pooling your resources, even if you don't literally. Like when somebody needs help, you help them, and that's just where sort of the energy goes. When somebody is sick, you bring them meals, and that sort of thing. I think it's really an important. I mean, it's amazing opportunity to have the school in that environment, because then everyone that you see around you, I mean, the kids have relationships with just people in the community. They know who's around, and they all hang out in the same places. And so it also, in turn, gives life to the community to have this group of really amazing kids always around and willing to help and do different things. I think that it's really... I mean, it's not going to be possible for all the schools, but it is a really positive thing to have the school in the community.
Oh, wow. That went so fast. Okay. We're off to commercial break, and I am talking with the founder of Ananda Village's Living Wisdom School and a 12-year-old author. Say your name again, Isabell?
Isabell Pollacek.
Pollacek. And Brian, one of the teachers at the school. And joining me is my co-host, Kim Michaels. We will be back wrapping this up after commercial break. You're listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant.
Homeowners, now is the season to be thinking about your roof, because all it takes is one storm to turn a small roof problem into a major leak. If it's time for a new roof, call Sears at 888-465-9720. You can save $500 if you call right now. Sears licensed, fully insured contractors can get your roofing job done right. Just call 888-465-9720. Sears has a variety of shingles and styles that are built for long-lasting performance, and you'll save $500 if you call now. So call Sears for a free in-home consultation at 888-465-9720. Hurry, offer ends soon. Not available in all areas. Installation provided by Sears authorized licensed contractors. License information available upon request. That's Sears Roofing. Call right now and save $500. Call 888-465-9720. 888-465-9720. Call Sears now and get that roof repaired. Call 888-465-9720.
Did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you can make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? Yes! According to the U.S. Census Bureau, you can make almost twice as much. Going back to college is now easier than ever. There are select online colleges that provide laptops to their students. In fact, there are thousands of college programs on your laptop. You can go to college anywhere and everywhere right from a laptop. Call My College Laptop and you can find hundreds of programs from accredited colleges and universities nationwide. Start a new career in law enforcement, business, information technology, healthcare, and hundreds of others. Call My College Laptop to find an online college that will provide you with a laptop. In no time at all, you can double your earning potential. Double your earning potential. Call now. 1-800-582-7531. That's 800-582-7531. 800-582-7531.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Hey, this is Bodie Stroud, host of In the Garage on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Join us every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk with all my friends from the automotive and custom car business about all the latest things going on in the industry today. That's In the Garage with me, Bodie Stroud, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
Okay, we're here wrapping up this discussion with the founder of Ananda Village's Living Wisdom School, and we were talking about how important it is that you guys have this blueprint and teachers can get certified and create, little schools here. So what were you saying, Brian?
I was just saying that it is good to definitely, I highly recommend getting trained in the system yourself. It can help you teach. It can help you just interact with children and with adults better. It's really even a personal improvement program.
Mm-hmm.
But also that we at the Living Wisdom School in Nevada City offer boarding for students. So if people are wanting to get trained, or if they're in homeschooling their children or things like that, but they want to move the process along. We have the facilities to have children come and stay with us as part of a full program, and then they're also staying with a faculty member. So that sort of education for life is a part of all parts of their day. It's not like they go to school and then afterwards they're not a part of it.
Okay, that's really wonderful to hear. And Michael, how would you like to sum this up?
Well, I just wanted to give people a real practical application. So we have these little booklets that we've been putting together. These are called life skills booklets.
Okay.
So the idea is that when you're growing up, you need to learn how life works and how to do it. So this is on making friends.
Okay.
So it's just a little simple booklet where the student chooses particular activities to do about learning to make friends better.
Okay.
And then they keep track of it on a chart here. And there's different kinds of ones here. This one's on developing concentration.
Okay.
And then there's building willpower.
Okay.
So there's about 15 of them right now.
All right.
And they're just a simple thing that people can share with their own children in a real simple way.
And so you sell these packets?
Yeah, this is on online at edforlife.org. It's ED for education.
edforlife.org.
And you can see them there.
Okay, so I do want to encourage everyone to stream the movie findinghappinessmovie.com so that you can actually see Ananda Village and all the people there and the interviews, and check out these other websites. And Isabell, I will be having you back on the show once your sequel is out, and I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to your books being available on Amazon. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And Brian, what would you like to leave the audience with?
I just want to make sure everyone knows that there is a possibility to grow up as a happy and well-rounded child, and it doesn't mean you have to go to one of our schools. It doesn't mean these principles are universal.
Yes.
They're everywhere, and you can instill them today. Give your child the opportunity to be what they really can be.
Well, and read the book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And what was the other book for the school?
There's a book called Education for Life, which is kind of the founding document. I actually have a book of my own called For Goodness Sake.
Ooh, okay. On education?
It shows some of these principles that way.
For goodness sake. Okay, so check out some of the books. And Kim, I'd like for you to make a closing statement.
Well, I was struck by listening to all of you that what children really need is a real relationship with adults.
Yes.
And I think that's what they don't get today because the parents are so busy. There's always other people taking care of the kids, and they don't get it in school. It's too big.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for that. And I want to thank all of you, Isabell and your mom, for flying all the way down here to do the show live. And I want to thank you guys for staying over to visit us. And I'm really looking forward to the next interview with the founders of the university, of Ananda University.
Thanks
all right,
much.
You've been listening to Divine Love Talk on CRN. I'm your host, Dr. Parthenia Grant, and Kim Michaels, my co-host at TranscendenceToolbox.com, and go to FindingHappinessMovie.com to find out more.